Hello students, in the last video we have discussed about natural or traditional method of contraceptive. In today's class, let us discuss about barrier method of contraceptive and intrauterine devices. Barrier method and the intrauterine devices or Iuds are the two spacing methods which prevents the contact of sperm and egg or ovum, thereby it prevents the fertilization. First, let us discuss about barrier methods of contraceptive. This method or barrier method prevents the contact of sperm and ovum. Barrier method prevents the contact between the sperm and the ovum. Thereby, it prevents the fertilization. If there is no fertilization, then there will be no conception. Barrier method includes condoms, diaphragms, cervical or vault caps. Barrier method includes condoms, diaphragms, cervical or vault caps. Condoms are the thin, strong sheath made up of rubber. Condoms are thin, strong sheath made up of rubber which can be used usually by males. Condoms are usually used by the males and which prevents the entry of sperms into the vagina during sexual intercourse. Condoms are thin, strong sheath used by the males which covers the penis. Condoms usually covers the penis, thereby it prevents the transfer of sperms into the female reproductive system or vagina during sexual intercourse or coitus. Condoms are used to cover the penis before the sexual intercourse and it collects the semen including sperms, thereby it prevents the entry of sperms into the vagina or cervix or uterus of the female reproductive system. Condom is convenient to use. It is effective, inexpensive, and it also gives protection against sexually transmitted diseases. So, the uses of condoms includes convenient to use, effective, inexpensive, and it also gives protection against sexually transmitted diseases. Next one is diaphragm. Diaphragm is a dome-shaped disc which is made up of soft rubbers. Diaphragms are the dome-shaped disc made up of soft rubbers. Usually it covers the entrance of the uterus. That means diaphragms are used to cover the cervix region. And to the inner surface of these diaphragms, spermicides are coated. Spermicides are the chemicals which kills the sperms. Spermicides, side means kills. Spermicides are the chemicals which kills the sperms and the spermicides are used in the form of creams or jellies or foams to coat the inner surface of the barrier like diaphragm. And this diaphragm prevents the entry of sperms into the female reproductive system, or diaphragm prevents the sperm from reaching the egg. It prevents the contact between sperm and the egg. It also provides protection against sexually transmitted diseases. Diaphragm also provides protection against sexually transmitted diseases. Next one is cervical or vault caps. Cervical or vault caps. These are a miniature diaphragm or small diaphragm which covers the cervix. Cervical caps or vault caps. These are the small diaphragm which covers the cervix. Thereby, the cervical caps prevents the sperm from reaching the uterus, or it prevents the contact between sperm and egg. It prevents the passage of sperm through the cervix or through the uterus. And to the inner surface of the cervical caps also spermicides are coated. Spermicides are the chemicals which kills the sperms, which can be used in the form of the creams, jellies or foams. Such spermicides are coated to the inner surface of the cervical caps, which prevents the sperm from reaching the uterus. This is about barrier methods. Next contraceptive method is intrauterine devices or Iuds. Intrauterine devices or Iuds. Iuds or intrauterine devices are small devices like loops, rings or spirals. Intrauterine devices may be in the form of loops, or it may be in the form of rings, or in the form of spirals, which are made up of plastic or nylon or copper or stainless steel. Intrauterine devices are made by plastic, nylon, copper or stainless steel, and these are placed in the uterus. Intrauterine devices are placed in the uterus, and which also prevents the contact between the sperm and ovum. Use of intrauterine devices also prevent the contact between the sperm and the uterus. Sperm and the egg. Thereby it prevents the fertilization. Intrauterine devices includes three different types. There are three types of intrauterine devices, such as non-medicated intrauterine devices, copper releasing intrauterine devices, and hormone releasing intrauterine devices. Non-medicated intrauterine devices. These intrauterine devices phagocytize the sperms within the uterus. Non-medicated Iuds phagocytize the sperms within the uterus. Means here the sperms reach the uterus of the female reproductive system, and these non-medicated intrauterine devices are present in the uterus of the female reproductive system. The sperms which are reaching the uterus are phagocytized by the non-medicated Iuds, like loops or rings or spirals. Phagocytize means by ingesting the sperms. These Iuds kills the sperms. Thereby it prevents the contact of the living sperm with the egg. Example for non-medicated intrauterine device is Lippus loop. Lippus loop is one example for non-medicated intrauterine device. Next one is copper releasing Iuds. These intrauterine devices release the copper ions. Copper releasing intrauterine devices releases the copper ions. The copper ions suppress the sperm motility, or copper ions prevents or slows down or suppress the motility or movement of the sperms, and also it suppresses the fertilizing capacity of the sperms. Copper releasing intrauterine devices release the copper ions. The copper ions suppress the sperm motility, means the motility of the sperms or movement of the sperms slows down, or sperms may become non-motile, and also copper ions suppress the fertilizing capacity of the sperms, thereby prevents fertilization. Example for copper releasing intrauterine devices are copper T, copper 7, multi-load 375. Copper T, copper 7 and multi-load 375 are the examples for copper releasing intrauterine devices. Next one is hormone releasing Iuds or hormone releasing intrauterine devices. Name itself indicates that these intrauterine devices release hormones which makes the uterus unsuitable for implantation and makes the cervix hostile for sperms. Hormone releasing intrauterine devices release the hormones. That hormones makes the uterus unsuitable for implantation. Implantation is nothing but attachment of blastocyst to the innermost layer, that is endometrium of the uterus. But the hormones released by these intrauterine devices prevents implantation by making the uterus unsuitable for implantation, and also it makes the cervix hostile for sperms, means cervix hates the sperms. Cervix hates the sperms, hostile. Thereby it prevents fertilization and conception. Example for hormone releasing intrauterine devices are Progestasert LNG20. Progestasert and LNG20 are the two hormone releasing intrauterine devices. This is about barrier methods and intrauterine devices. In the next class, let us discuss about hormonal methods or pill methods or oral contraceptives, and about injections, implants, etc. Thank you.